Ted, I'm tired of the monk getting bashed for being a weak option in 5th edition.
Bashed? You're gonna make jokes?
I can make jokes if I wanna, but I wish there was a way to make the monk better.
I just don't see how it can be done.
See, you mean unseen.
What?
Just listen. Let's discuss and create the monk Way of the Unseen Fist for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. Welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Dave, and as usual, I'm joined by this nerd.
Nerdarchist Ted.
Hey, you looking to see more D&D videos? No need for all the extra movement. Just click that subscribe button.
And if it's more Nerdarchy videos you're after, no need to waste your key. Just attune to that notification bell.
Hey, remember, if you want to catch every Nerdarchy video, we drop them Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Just head over to the Nerdarchy YouTube channel, and you can stay informed about Nerdarchy. So before we jump into this video about the Way of the Unseen Fist, you know, they're going to need a monastery. That's a destination. It might even be a dangerous destination, like the sponsor of this video's Kickstarter, Dangerous Destinations by Nord Games. You're gonna be able to have these dangerous destinations. They're made up of one of 12 description types, one of 6 danger types. Each of these elements has a huge variety of details. When combined in different ways, the system can be used to create unlimited number of possible outcomes. So if you need a destination, if you need a place to throw into your game, maybe you don't have any ideas, but you have some dice, you can randomly roll them and come up with one of these dangerous destinations. Their stretch goals are going to be pre-made dangerous destinations. And Ted, you know a little bit more about this than I.
Absolutely. If you actually head over to the Nord Games YouTube channel, you'll actually see yours truly work on one of these destinations. It's going to be in the book, live on their channel. It definitely was a lot of fun. There's a lot of rolling or choosing, with the charts that they've created for these books. You can get into the nitty-gritty details and be able to figure out all those things that you didn't want to do, and this book makes it super easy. It was super streamlined. The video that I took part in was so much fun. There's more coming. Obviously, this is, happening in the future. So it's already, part of it's already happened. There's more to come. I was super thrilled to be a part of it. I'm eager to see what the final book is going to look like, but I know that it's going to adorn my shelf before the end, and I think it should yours as well. So why don't you head down to the description, check out the link, and check out this Kickstarter.
All right, let's jump into it. I wanted to make up a new 5e monk subclasses. Good chances will probably end up over our Patreon rewards. We'll do a full write-up or something. But, so I don't know why. I was just inspired. It's like, I wanted to make a subclass for the monk based off the mage hand cantrip. It literally was just, that was the kind of like the inspiration for me.
All right, so this is your baby. So we're gonna talk through things. You can let me know what powers that you've created. We already know that the Arcane Trickster, the Rogue subclass gets the ability to do a little bit more with their mage hand that they get access to. So there's already a little bit of precedent with giving access to another class, this specific cantrip, and some extra abilities beyond it. So where do we go from here?
All right, so first of all, monks get monastic traditions at 3rd, 6th, 11th, and 17th, or when the tradition features kind of drop. So we know we need to make up, 4 features at least. Many monks get multiple features at 3rd level. So that's another thing, sometimes they're ribbon abilities. So one of the things when looking at the monk subclasses, honestly, the better ones are ones that kind of add on to the abilities that they already have or give them new abilities, and mostly ones that don't really require key. And if they do, they have to be really good. Otherwise, it's just such a sink because everything the monk does revolves around using key. So they run out of it relatively fast. It's super easy to be like, one battle, boom, you're out of key, right? So what do you do now?
If you don't get that short rest, it's like, all right, looks like, I'm going to be, not on my A game for this one.
Yeah, so the first thing I did was summon Unseen Fist, right? You learn the Mage Hand cantrip. When you cast Mage Hand, it is invisible. Your spell casting ability for this spell is Wisdom, not that it really matters. You can interact with objects as a bonus action with your Mage Hand, right? So I just give them that little bit of extra, thing that they can do. At 6th level, your Mage Hand range doubles, so it's usually 30 feet. It'll go to 60 feet. Honestly, there's some ways that you can make it even further with feats and stuff. So like there's some things that might need to be play tested to see if it can be broken or not. So that's the first ability I've got for 3rd level. So far, what do you think?
I mean, being able to, give them access to a cantrip, not in any way, shape, or form a problem, and being able to double the range out to 60 feet at 6th level, again, not really a problem.
And the thief archetype for the rogue does get cunning action, and they get interact with an object added to their things to do. So I feel like I'm still like in line with the game. I'm not breaking anything yet. Let's look at their second ability for 3rd level. Maybe we'll break things here. Empower Unseen Fist. When you cast Mage Hand, you can spend a key point to make attacks with it. These attacks do your martial arts die in damage and can be used as part of your flurry of blows or as a bonus action attack. If you take the attack action, these attacks do force damage. After you use the Empower Unseen Fist feature, the next attack that hits with an additional martial arts die hits for an additional martial arts die of damage. So in theory, right, when you first summon it, it takes your action. So technically, you can't attack with it or do anything with it until next round, unless you're using the optional rules for Monk, which allow you to, if you spend a key point, you can make a bonus attack, bonus action attack. In this case, it's you have the potential to double your damage that you would normally do. So really, I think it just puts you on par for what you would have done when you summoned it anyway. It's not a concentration spell, and it lasts a minute, so it'll basically last your whole fight, and it only costs a key point to do it. I felt like that was okay.
So the caveats that I see, or the potential problems I see here, is it's not concentration, so it's not going to go away. Other than once that minute elapses, or if you choose to end the spell if your DM is allowing you to do those kind of things. But at 3rd level, you are getting the ability to replace your non-magical punchy damage with ranged punchy damage that is force, which is one of the more rarer damage types. Even if you were to replace that with a magical bludgeoning damage, that could still potentially cause a bit of the issue. Now, the laser monk, as it's referred to, does get the ability to replace all of its, martial arts, punches and whatnot with radiant damage. Still one of the rarer types. It's not elemental. So I think while force definitely puts it on my radar for question, I think comparing it to the other monk subclass at that same level, it still puts it into the I'm not worried.
Yeah, and you're also still only doing your martial arts style, right?
Right.
It's a D4. So, I don't know how much you can break the game with a D4. And technically, it should be a D4 plus your modifier, like your normal attacks. And
right.
You would use your your dexterity or strength, depending on how you wanted to do it. I guess we could even say you replace your with your wisdom if you wanted to. So there's some wiggle room there that I might like tinker with a little bit.
Sure.
And also, so starting off too, like you can only use it as your bonus attacks or your flurries. You're not using your main attack, so you can't do all your attacks that way.
Right.
Yet. So 6th level, no hands. You now replace your attacks from your attack action with your empowered Unseen Fist. So now all your attacks can be Unseen Fist attacks at 6th level. You're getting that range. And then the next ability is Powerful Unseen Fist. Your Unseen Fist strikes become like hammer blows. Every time a creature is struck by an Unseen Fist attack, it must make a strength saving throw. If it fails, you can push it up to 10 feet away from you. If they can't see the Unseen Fist, this saving throw is at disadvantage.
All right, so this is a little bit of a problem. because while definitely being able to push and shove is within the rule set, the battle master gets these kind of abilities that cost them their superiority dice. And when obviously if it's unseen, unless they have like true seeing going on or see invisibility, they're not going to be able to see the fist. So these things are going to be made at disadvantage. Um, so that is a definitely a major bonus. So what do you feel about, like, um, I know spending key is a a clutch thing for you, but do you feel like there could be maybe some kind of maneuvering for like a stance, here, that you spend one key point, and for the next duration, you can attempt to do this. So like, even if it's one key for the battle to be able to do that, might be worthwhile, just so that there is some expenditure as opposed to
Possibly, but I kind of looked at Warlock. I was like, Eldritch Blast, take an invocation, and now like every single time you Eldritch Blast, you push 10 feet.
okay.
No saving throw, no nothing. And even like if you look at Battle Master, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Battle Master, there's a save for that for the things that are controlly, but you also do extra damage.
That is true. That is true.
So those were the mitigating factors that I was taking into consideration.
Awesome.
When doing it. And the idea was like, yeah, I really want this monk to be able to push things around. And I wanted to make it almost automatic, but but there's still a chance.
Sure, yeah.
And also, like, by having it not just be a straight up strength saving throw, it means you have a better chance of pushing around those strong monsters.
You're right, and which definitely is a fun thing to be able to do. And battlefield control can be a lot of fun, and something that I don't see a whole lot of monks do. So adding this element into this particular class definitely gives that a bit of a control factor. And you've got the ability to add in teammates, or if the battle happens to have hazards, you could be pushing them into said things.
Yeah. Also, the way of the open hand, like when you use your flare of blows, you automatically can just do effects. Right. Well, there's a saving throw, but there's no cost or anything, and they make the saving throw and they do them. But every time a flare blow attack lands, it's like you can try and knock them prone or push them. You can deny them the reaction, and I think you can disarm them.
Cool.
So like these are all the kind of things I was thinking about, and you get that at like 3rd level. So 11th level is our next thing. Focused Unseen Fist. After you hit with an attack from your Unseen Fist, you can choose to expend key points. For every key point spent, add an additional martial arts die of damage. And you had put some notes in here, so go ahead with your thoughts.
So being able to do this without a limit was definitely like a question for me. So like I was thinking about, like, all right, what if we limit it to you can spend up to half your level in key? Because like, hey, I'm 17th level, I punch this guy and I crit. All right, I'm spending all 17 key right here, and I'm rolling 34 extra dice.
So my thoughts on that was, so one of the things I went and did is I said, well, what can you do at 11th level? Well, if you're a rogue and you're sneak attacking, that's like a ton of dice right there, right? What is that, like?
11th level is 6.
Yeah, so every time you sneak attack, you're doing that, and then depending on your subclass, you might be able to do more damage. But then I just went and looked at spells. I'm like, you can cast a 6th level spell, and it's like literally at 11th level, it would be 11 die 8. And when you look across the spells, it's right on par. There is like the Way of the Long Death Monk has an ability where they do the limiting thing, except for it's like for every point you spend, it's 2 die 10. So I'm like, well, that's essentially the same thing, right? And I just look at it, it's like, well, if you Nova and use them all, right, that's it. You're done until you can take a short rest. So those were my kind of thoughts on it. And I just felt like it was on par with what other classes could do, except for other classes more than likely are a little bit better off because they have, like, they won't be done for until they rest.
So, I mean, I definitely understand, that aspect. To me, you are limited by, how many points you have. But I have to look, not only at, what the core rules are, but at what else, that we've literally done, and
Mm.
we've created items that, double key points. It's meant as a balancing factor for the the way of the four elements monk, who have to just spend so much key to use all of their subclass abilities. But once that's out there, if it's gets in the hand of somebody who's an unseen fist and they do this thing like, all right, I got a crit, all right, well, I've got umpteen points, I'm gonna use them all, they all get doubled because I crit. It just can be a lot of damage
Yeah.
outside the realm of what a monk should be doing. So,
I will say that magic item that you're speaking of, I made it. I specifically made it for the way of the four elements,
yes.
so that it couldn't be like bled over to other monk classes that aren't quite as hampered.
So, it is just, it is something you've obviously, done your homework, your research to really see, like, all right, I'm comparing it to X, I'm comparing it to Y, and I'm comparing it to Z. So I'm okay with this. You put forth a logical argument for why, a limit isn't necessary, because the limit is literally built in. All right, you want to unpack all your key at once? Fine, there it is. You hit hard. You hit hard once. Well, you know what? If that monster's still standing, he's not going to be happy with you. And until you rest, you're out of all of your abilities. So that does make sense. It has the limiting factor, but I just, I look at those things and I question. That's all.
No, and absolutely, and like so, I also kind of kept in mind, like, okay, what can a paladin do? Well, they're kind of limited. Like they won't be able to do as many, but technically, like over the course of the combat, they end up being able to pour on way more smites than you would be able to do key points as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like so these are all the things that I was kind of looking at when taking it into consideration. And I'm sure there's definitely things that I'm missing. There always is, right? There's always that niche thing that a player is going to come up with, or that one combination they're going to figure out
Right.
that's going to break it. It's part of the game. So it's like anything else. It needs some play testing, right? So 17th level, many unseen fists. You can use an action to dismiss your unseen fist. When you do, a swarm of unseen fists explode from you, striking at every creature you choose within 60 feet of you. You make the attack for each one. These attacks use the powerful unseen fist feature, and this is an ability that you can use once per short or long rest.
All right. So you basically get to, you have the caveat of you must already have your fist summoned, and then you have to dismiss it to be able to cause this to happen. So you'd only be able to do this every other round, because if you wanted to do it, and not that you can, because it's once per rest anyway. But it is definitely something like you can hit a lot of people all at once. But for a 17th level character, not in any way, shape, or form, groundbreaking. I would honestly consider at a 17th level, should it do like a double your martial arts die at that point in time?
Yeah, definitely, maybe. I wasn't sure about this one because 60 feet around you could be a lot of creatures. You also have the ability to push them as well. So it could be a lot of control. But again, I just wanted to do something interesting with it, and give them more of that control effect and an area effect thing to do. And I kind of looked at like the other monks and what they were doing at 17th level, which is kind of like all over the place. I think like the Drunken Master is a lot of fun because I believe you can attack make 7 attacks in a round. So I was like, okay, I think we're close to on par. But again, the higher level abilities are so hard because it's like, yeah, like almost anything is like, is that too powerful? And then you're like, well, you're 17th level, right? Like, there's two aspects to being 17th level. One, is it actually going to happen in a game? And two, like at that point, it's like wizards are casting Wish.
So I mean, I'd push Wish out of that comparison because it's hard to replicate what that's going to have. Is it Meteor Swarm? Is it Meteor Swarm? That's the thing that I would look at as a comparison. And
so you're saying beef it up a little
so
bit.
I would be cool. Okay. I would be cool with, with everything else, I've been on the other side of the fence of like, are we sure? Is this, but we're 17th level here. Yes, some of these other subclasses, don't get, quite as, shall we say, punchy. But for this, you know what? I'm willing to open up the floodgates here. Every viable target that you willingly choose, you're dismissing your key factor. That's really all of your advantage. So you're going to have to spend another round bringing it back that you're not damaging anything. But double your martial arts die, which, what's that, a 2d8 to as many targets that are within?
2d10, I think, at that point. I think it maxes it out at d10. Did they ever get to d12? I don't know. Do we even play this game?
But that's my thoughts. Double your martial arts die, and that's cool. And, you can punch really hard to a lot of things that are around you, and have fun with it.
Nice. Hey Ted, you remember that time we made another subclass here in a video?
Is that the Order of the Peacock?
Yes. And speaking of yes, and you guys can find it around here somewhere. And speaking of making things, we make new 5e content for players and DMs alike every month over on Patreon.
And as a special thank you to our Patreon backers, we make 5e content. We do monthly fan games that our patrons get access to, and so much more.
So until next time, stay
nerdy.